Go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you could stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll go ahead and start. Call for an approval of the agenda. So second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Incy,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Chairman Urbina,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilsey.
Yes.
Any upcoming commissioner absences?
I would probably be on Zoom at the next meeting. I don't think I'll miss it completely, but if anything, I'll be Zoom.
I might miss the next meeting because I might be in trial, but I will get a hold of you and Tanya, let you both know in advance.
Anything else? Okay. Communications. We did receive a communication.
Yeah, there's a letter from Peninsula School District in your packets regarding the active shooter rescue task force training at Gig Harbor High School over the winter break.
Next, we look for an approval of the minutes of December 13th, 2022 meeting.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Incy,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wilsey,
Yes.
Chairman Urbina.
Yes. And voucher approvals.
I'll move that we approve accounts payable vouchers 198,562 through 198,646 for a total of $450,984.70, and payroll vouchers 198,647 through 198,662 for a total of $960,981.17, along with ACH payroll transfers totaling and wire transfer fees totaling $1,444,723.91. For a grand total is outlined in the agenda of $2,856,689.78.
Second.
All right. Moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Incy,
Yes.
Commissioner Nelson,
Yes.
Commissioner Sudich,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilsey,
Yes.
Chairman Urbina.
Yes. And do we have a report from the local tonight?
We don't.
That gets us the chief's report.
All right, we got quite a bit to report on tonight. I'm gonna start with Chief Black.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to update you on two things. We had our first meeting with WSRB, Washington Survey and Rating Board. Our last rating was done in 2018, and we're on a 5-year cycle, and so we'll be getting ours done in 2023. And we had our first meeting today, and just as a reference for you, our rating in the city is a 4, and in the county is a 5. I don't know that that will necessarily change, but we'll be going through the process, and I'll keep you updated. Secondly, I also just wanted to update you that we have hired an IT consultant to come in and help us evaluate our IT needs within the district. We currently are part of an IT consortium, and we're just trying to figure out if that's the best place for us or what our options are. And I meet with that consultant here tomorrow. More to follow for them as well. End of report.
Chief Booth.
All right. Good evening, gentlemen. Two things to report on. We just onboarded a new chaplain. His name is Gary Rudd. He's a realtor in town, but he's been a pastor in the Midwest for almost 20 years. I think he's going to be an excellent fit and a resource for our organization. And if you have an opportunity to meet him, he's got a really interesting story. I'd strongly encourage you to say hello and engage in conversation. The other thing I wanted to tell you guys about is that we have entered into an agreement with L&I. It's a year 2 of a pilot program. It's called FIRE. It stands for Firefighter Injury and Illness Reduction. And in doing so, there's several benefits. One is that they're going to assist us with a vulnerability assessment specific to exposure to carcinogens as well as orthopedic injury. It gives us a 10% reduction in the L&I premium in the firefighter class specifically. And it also offers opportunities to get grant funding for certain things to help reduce our occupational injuries and exposures. So that's a year-long process. I've entered into that, and I've already completed the vulnerability assessment, and now I'm just waiting for the risk management training in late March. So I'll keep you guys right. I'll keep you gentlemen appraised of the processes that move forward.
Chief Oldenburg.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'd like to give you just quickly a brief end of year budget timeline. So we anticipate to bring the November monthly financial report to you next meeting. Next month, we will bring the December monthly financial report. And then in the March, April timeframe, we will do the year-end closeout. Some of our stuff has to wait till Pierce County stuff is done, but we should be able to do those monthly financial reports staggered this month and next month to kind of get us a good idea there. Also, just another update for the commissioners. Today, earlier this morning, for about 3 hours, we conducted some training here in the organization of the entire command and general staff, and additionally the AAs and some of our finance specialists were a part of that as well. And so we talked about the 2023 budget bill, the reorganization and restructure that we did for the budget, and then we went through in detail the line item detailed budget for all of pretty much the supervisory group for the entire department of Gig Harbor. So that was very well received. I had some feedback this afternoon, and so we're moving along, and we're very comfortable with the amount of information that's gone out so that we can monitor and distribute that to our organization as we move forward. Another update would be the search for the HR manager. We started with more than 20 applicants. We interviewed 6 via Zoom last week, and we are interviewing the final 2 Thursday. And moving forward to a panel interview here in person, and then the chief's interview Thursday afternoon. We are hopeful that we will do a conditional job offer probably Thursday night or Friday moving forward. I would like to also update you on our 2021 AFG SCBA grant application. That was not successful. So we will need to move forward with discussions here in the organization of an alternate method of paying for those SCBAs and what the timeline for replacement is as we move forward. We've already started those discussions, but we did get final word that we were not successful in that grant application. That was about $1 million. So total replacement costs are closer to $2 million for the organization. And the report.
Chief Meyer.
Good evening, Commissioners. So a couple of things on my docket tonight. One of the things I'd like to report is year-end statistics for number of calls. So in 2022, we responded to 7,016 alarms. That's about a 10% increase from the year before. So just a little bit of data there and from total calls. In the month of December, on December 12th, we had a residential fire out in the Kopachuk area. It was a second alarm response for us. So we had our partners from Tacoma and West Pierce come out and assist us. We conducted a primary surge and fire control, but the water system in that area could not keep up with our firefighting efforts. And so because the fire was in the attic and because of the water supply shortage, if you will, we went defensive, and then we had to switch over to a tender shuttle. So it was a pretty big response for us. One of the things we wanted to get done, and we did, we got a primary surge done. There was no injuries from the homeowners. They were home. We did rescue a cat. And so we did get some good publicity for rescuing a cat. Thank you for logistics for getting that cat to the vet. So that was a good thing for us. So anyway, so the family and the neighborhood was very, anytime you have a disaster, you don't want to say that the family and the neighborhood were pleased with our response, but we also, felt the devastation there because it was a pretty significant loss for the fire. We did do fire watch overnight, so that was also a good way for us to interact with the neighborhood and make sure that they were at peace for having a large event in their neighborhood. So that's the Kopachuk fire on the 12th. On December 27th, we had an event down in Purdy, an incident, king tide event that flooded the Bridgeway Market. That in the parking lot, I think it had 2 to 3, in other areas, almost 4 feet of water in the parking lot. that caused about 18 inches of water in the businesses with the Bridgeway Market. So the Bridgeway Market, Dexter's Drive-In, when the king tide raised up and we had the winds pushing the water from the southwest, everything came right into Purdy. And so we got called actually for a fire response because the occupants of those businesses, the power was arcing, the water was up enough, it was affecting the electrical system. So there was smoke and electrical arcs inside the businesses, so we had to go in and make sure the fires were out. We did primary searches and helped with the business owners. Working with Penn Light, because of the electrical system, because of the high tide, we had to shut down the electrical system to the whole complex there. So all the way from local boys, all the way down to Bridgeway Market, to Napa, and to the taco truck. That was all shut down. So, and Penn Light shut that down, so we didn't have any more fires or any more damage. Then with that effort, the on-duty battalion chief contacted Pierce County DEM and got them involved. And so there was some damage, I think, throughout the county because of this weather event. And then Chief Booth has been working with Pierce County DEM on some of the recovery stuff and just being a liaison with Pierce County DEM, trying to support our local businesses through that. So there's some effort on social media. There's a big reader board in Purdy trying to get information to people to report their damage. And so that's what's happening down there in Purdy. So starting also, switch gears, starting with 2023, we have a new staffing matrix or response plan. As you well know, that the shift MSOs have been reassigned. We no longer have the MSO 51 position on a 24-hour. We took two of those gentlemen and they are supporting our EMS division on days here. So the two of those persons went to days and is supporting our EMS divisions with everything that's required of our EMS division. And then two of those gentlemen went to fill vacancies on apparatus. So we no longer have them. So our minimum daily staffing is 22 personnel. That's our minimum staffing. That's 5 engine companies with 3-person engine companies, 3 medic units with minimum staffing of 1 paramedic on those paramedic units, and then also a battalion chief. And then we also have the duty chief to help support that. So that's our minimum staffing every day. We are very fortunate that as we proceed in the new year, sometimes we have extra staffing there. We have more staffing than the 22 minimum. And so when we have like 1 person extra, when we go up to 23, we are putting a tender in service to help us with fire responses. And also too, if the incident commander doesn't need water at an incident, that tender person can park that apparatus and also assist at the incident doing other things, support, helping the BCs doing other things. When we have 2 qualified people, we're going to be making an effort to help staff Fox Island. When we have 2 extra qualified people, we're going to be moving a brush truck out to Station 53. We're going to be moving the tender to Station 52. And so out there at Station 53, we'll have engine 53 and brush 53. So when we have 2 qualified people extra, we're going to make an effort to staff brush 53. And then also too, when we have 3 people extra qualified people, we're going to staff engine 53. So just recently this last weekend, engine 53 was staffed for 24 hours on Friday. And then it was staffed also this Sunday for 24 hours with 3 personnel. So again, additional service when we're above minimum staffing. So we just look to prioritize staffing and additional apparatus in outlying areas when we have the personnel. And right now that station has been established as Station 53 in our plan. One of the things in your communication, you will see an active shooter thank you from the Peninsula School District. So on December 19th and 20th, our agency participated with Key Peninsula School District, Gig Harbor PD, Pierce County DEM, and other local law enforcement, where we did active shooter training at Gig Harbor High School. So just working with Unified Command, working with what we'll call rescue task forces, where our firefighters will go into the warm zone escorted by police officers and go in and remove patients or victims from the warm zone and get them to medical aid quickly. So that was great training by all the participating agencies close to Christmas. And thanks for Kevin for letting us use his school. So, yeah, so that was great training. So also too, Central Pierce recently has, back lack of a better word, has been devastated by a couple of active duty deaths. And so we've been helping them when they requested. So on 12/18, we assisted with an engine company staffing one of their movements of their firefighters that passed away. And then also this weekend on January 14th, we're going to be providing an engine for coverage for the memorial service of one of their firefighters. So you may see one of our fire engines over there running calls for Central Pierce, trying to support that effort. And if you remember when Eliza passed away, Central Pierce was helping us over here. So we want to pay that back. So that is the end of my report, unless you have any questions.
All right. I'll continue. We're still focusing on the levy, and I know it's your decision at the end of the day if we do a fire levy, but I'm kind of assuming that's where we're headed. And in August, that'll probably be my recommendation coming in the next 2 weeks. Well, with that, I engaged 4 companies to help us or to guide us through that process. And one came and gave a presentation at command staff. It's Strategies 360. They came and told us what they could do to help us through our levy. Commissioner Avina was there for that meeting and that presentation. After that, our command staff feels that we should go with Strategies 360. We think they're going to do a better job and cheaper too. So I will have that teed up for you in 2 weeks. We're working with them on putting together a contract, and I'll bring that forward to have a company called Strategies 360 help us through our levy process. Also on Monday morning, we had County Emergency Manager Jody Ferguson come to our command staff meeting just to, we're all pretty new except for Chief Meyer and Chief Blackwell. But we're all in new roles, right? And especially Chief Booth, who's responsible for emergency management. We wanted to know what they can do to support us. And we had a really good meeting with Jody Ferguson, and we're going to be partnering with her and them to help us in all of our emergency management. So I thought it was a good meeting, and just wanted to let you know she came here, and we'll be engaging with them. I'm on the Washington Fire Chiefs Legislative Committee. We had a meeting today, and on the 17th of February, we'll have a legislative day. Some legislation, we're only in day 2, but it's coming fast and furious, because there's been maybe a backlog the last couple of years. It sounds like it's becoming unjammed. There was a lot of legislation already. I'm reading through 2 or 3 pages of reports trying to catch up today at all the legislation. Some of the things to let you know, there's a Senate Bill 5236 by hospital workers that the IFF supports from a worker standard in hospitals having some minimum staffing, which I completely support and understand, but there may be an unintended consequence of this that we're concerned of as chiefs, that if they are below minimum staffing, they may not accept patients. And so we want to learn more about it. Again, this is first look at this legislation, but that's one of the things already that we're looking at. We're looking at wildfire mitigation and response. The state fire marshals, the Washington State Council of Firefighters, are pushing to have the state fire marshal moved into its own division underneath the governor. which I understand. I know when I came from Idaho, they worked under the Department of Insurance, and here in Washington, it's under the Washington State Patrol. It seems like in a lot of states, fire department or fire marshals are stuffed under either the state patrol or some other agency, and our union is pushing to move it as its own department so that it gets the resources it needs. And so we're engaging in that discussion and learning more about it right now. There's a lot of discussion about lithium ion batteries, training for that. As we move to, as the governor moves and changes our state. I know that he has some aspirational goals for government agencies. And so we, although support it, we don't know if our fleet can react fast enough to some of these goals. So we're staying abreast there. So again, it's second day 2, and but there's already quite a bit of legislation happening, and I'm on that committee and may go over there occasionally as the former lobbyist for the Professional Firefighters of Idaho and the Idaho Fire Chiefs. I've been engaging with the Washington Fire Chiefs quite a bit on this subject, and we'll go over there on the 17th. I've attended the last 2 Pierce County Council meetings. They asked me to come and give a report 2 meetings ago, and then last meeting, Robin Denson was being sworn in and she has been our representative and city council person, and I wanted to go there and support her. So I attended that last meeting. While I was there, I also went out, as I've reported before, that Eliza's name has been added to the. Have you went out to the courtyard? Yeah, I just went in and it's just been added, and I saw that, so I thought that was really nice while I was there to go see her name on the wall there. On January 4th, I attended the Chamber's elected official evening. My wife, I drug her out and made her go with me as we listened to our senator and our 2 state representatives give their vision for the year, and had a lot of other elected officials there that I spent some time with that evening. While I'm discussing Eliza, her mother has contacted me, and LNI is now denying for her death benefit, which is quite frustrating. They are citing that it wasn't timely. So I'm helping her through it. I'm helping her through it politically. Washington State Council of Firefighters are helping her. She's also retained an attorney. It's quite frustrating, but I hope we can get the decision changed here pretty soon. Pierce County Fire Chiefs, Commissioner Sudich and I have been talking about this quite a bit, quite open and honest about this. But when I went to the Pierce County Fire Chiefs meeting the first time, and I'm probably to blame for this change. I went to the Pierce County Fire Chiefs meeting, and there was Pierce County Chaplaincy, the dispatch, Pierce County Commissioners. It was an entire huge room of a whole bunch of people. And I sat there for quite a bit of time, and no report. And I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing as fire chiefs? This seems frankly a waste of my time to go to this meeting. And there was some social aspects which were good. So I started to ask some questions. What are we doing? What's our purpose? We seem very disjointed. We're not all together. And as fire chiefs, if we can come together, I think we can make some change in this valley, but we seem to be 19 different entities and never on the same page. Through my questioning, through my asking, then I got put on the board. That's what happens when you push a little bit. And through that, we redid our bylaws and we made it that it's only fire chiefs at the Pierce County Fire Chiefs. Now there's some unintended consequences of that. Some bad things are happening because of it. Because we moved it to 5 bugles only, now the assistant chiefs aren't there, right? I think that's a negative. There's also a negative, and we've asked the commissioners not to be at our meeting. It's for the fire chiefs. We've asked dispatch or South Sound 911, the chaplaincy, the emergency manager, all those different organizations. And the reason, I think we did a poor job of explaining our reason, that we need to get our house in order. We need to, as fire chiefs, put some priorities together. We need the 5 bugles in the room, the people that can make some decisions to get some priorities and move forward on those. But there were some unintended consequences. Commissioner Sudich and I have talked about some of those, and even my staff has told me, hey man, that's kind of cutting us out too, and we're the ones that do the work. So I think the pendulum might need to swing back, but I will tell you this, that we had our first meeting as just fire chiefs, and it was the best meeting I've been to in 2 years. We spent 4 hours talking just as fire chiefs about the priorities that we need to make change on in this county, and we're working on leaning into a couple of those at our next meeting, and just picking off some low-hanging fruit and trying to get some things done in this valley. So Commissioner Sudich and I have been open and honest about his disapproval of us doing that, and I totally understand. And it was an unintended consequence. At the same time, I'm on the board now, and I think that we're going to get some stuff done. We're specifically looking at dispatch right now, at South Sound 911, at priority medical dispatch, how we dispatch our units, how we're going to do it together as a county, and then how we can use AVL to dispatch our units rather than fixed locations. And I think if we lean into that, we can actually make some change. So I'm excited about that. But there are some unintended consequences that I'll let Commissioner Sudich talk about. You want me to pause right there, or do you want to? Sure. Yeah.
And I think this meeting only of the fire chiefs is really good. I totally agree with that. When we talked the first time, my suggestion was the fire chiefs can meet whenever they want. But I still see a lot of value in our assistant chiefs, battalion chiefs, if they want to go, division chiefs, when Chief Waters was a division chief. I think they're able to network, especially with Chief Oldenburg being relatively new here. It's hard for you to get to know anybody in Pierce County, in my opinion. That said, again, I think the chief, what he's doing is great. But if it's only 16, 17, however many fire chiefs we have, meeting in a room, I'm going to, maybe not tonight, probably next meeting, I'm going to address Pierce County commissioners. Why would we fund the Pierce County Chiefs Association when it only amounts to fire chiefs? I don't see the benefit of any tax dollars. They can meet whenever they want, however they want. You're not having DNR and you know, I realize a lot of that stuff is fluff and it goes over everybody's head. I think there's benefit to having a large meeting. I also think the chief's idea is a great idea. I'm wondering why we can't have both. It's my thought. And I'm going to take this to the Pierce County Commissioners, and then one way or another, the next meeting, because I don't want to blindside anybody, I will probably ask that we just defund Pierce County Chiefs, because for all intents and purposes, they no longer exist anyway, if it continues along this path, in my opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. Like I said, we've had open and honest discussion about this, and we're going to agree to disagree. It's the Pierce County Fire Chiefs. That's the name of the organization. And I'm the fire chief representing you. And so I told Commissioner Sudich, it feels like I'm not being trusted as your fire chief to go to the fire chiefs meeting. And again, it's not a commissioners meeting, it's a fire chiefs meeting. And commissioners can have their meeting and they can invite whoever they want. They can have a joint meeting if they would like. And it feels like that's our business of who we have at our meeting. But I also agree with Commissioner Sudich that there's some unintended consequences here, and that we need to come up with ways that we can have forums together But I think that's kind of a separate issue. So,
Can I ask a question? So, there's three, to my knowledge, four city departments in Pierce County. I may be getting that wrong. Obviously, one of our fellow commissioners works for one of them.
and he can't come to the meeting anymore because he's not.
Well,
chief.
but do Tacoma City Council members show up at the fire chiefs meeting?
Nobody except 5 bugle fire chiefs are. at
No,
the
I mean,
meeting.
I mean previously. Like we're talking about commissioners, but we have the biggest department in the county is the city department. Were city council members ever showing up at those meetings?
Commissioner Wilsey, did you guys ever have any council members come to our meeting?
No, other than the ones that were part of South Sound 911 that occasionally might attend, but they're not in their capacity as a city of Tacoma council member. They're there as South Sound 911 representative, but no. So, and trust me, and I'm not heartbroken about having to go to one less meeting a month, so.
Well, I mean, I'm just curious because that's the biggest department in the county and their oversight's the city council. And I understand, you know, that there may be commissioners that want to attend the chiefs meeting, but if the oversight board of the biggest department in the county was not a part of that group, then why would commissioners be? I guess from like an organizational perspective, right? So.
That's Kim, not me.
I can answer that.
Sure.
When a few of us commissioners started attending probably 15, 16 years ago, there was a lot of eyebrows raised. And we knew we weren't welcome. Fast forward probably 5, 6, 7 years after that, when Keith Wright was president, they wanted to exclude the commissioners. And it was said, I mean, the people that I knew, they didn't feel comfortable talking about things in front of commissioners. Well, with a whole new breed of chiefs, that ceased to be an issue. I mean, simple as that. That's part of the issue there. I'm gonna circle back a little bit. I think it's great that the fire chiefs are meeting. How many chiefs are there? I keep saying
I think there's 19 in our
Okay.
county.
19 people in a room without DNR, without Department of Ecology, all that good stuff. Got it. Agree with that totally. But that no longer is an association. Why are tax dollars funding an association that is not an association in my mind? It's a meeting of the chiefs, which is a great thing. All I'm saying is if our assistant chiefs, all 5 of them, are not included, our division chiefs, all this in the past was part of the association. Personally, I think they ought to just dissolve the whole thing or do whatever. Again, next meeting after I talk to Pierce County, I'm gonna request that we just no longer fund it. They can still meet. I mean, I just don't see the point there. I'm not sure that I feel comfortable tax dollars funding an association that limits attendance. Let's put it that way.
Well, but I mean, my career, I'm a prosecutor, and there's the Washington Association of Prosecuting Attorneys, which is made up of every prosecutor in the state. And we don't invite defense attorneys to our conferences, even though they're public employees. I mean, I think that there are limits everywhere and some of them are arbitrary. But, you know, to me, and maybe I'm editorializing too much, but I'll just put my cards on the table. I mean, I don't typically attend Pierce County Fire Commissioners Association meetings because I don't really see that there's a lot of non-socializing work that gets done at those meetings in terms of lobbying and that sort of thing. I attend Washington State Fire Commissioner Association meetings because I think there's value in the presentations. I think there's probably real value in Pierce County fire chiefs, and I'm curious how, in having an association, number one, number two, how does it compare to other counties? I guess I would be curious about in terms of King County, Thurston County, Snohomish County, you know. I mean, you're talking about in King County, you're talking about some very large sized departments, and I imagine that it's probably just the chiefs that are at those meetings. I mean, you're talking about the largest departments in the state, right? So I think if, I don't necessarily see the harm in the chiefs saying, hey, we need to have a meeting where we have the opportunity to discuss issues, and maybe you want to broaden that to assistant chiefs. I don't know. But again, that's not for me to necessarily worry about. So I guess I just don't see the need to defund the organization at this point, because the chiefs have decided we as chiefs need to have meetings together, because I think that's consistent with other organizations that receive similar funding in the state, in my experience. So this may be for a later meeting.
I'm sorry, again.
I said this may be a conversation for a later meeting. I'm just expressing my opinion.
Well, next meeting, one way or another, I'll bring it up. And if everybody votes against me, I'm good with it. Hopefully not. I just don't see the fire chiefs, period, being funded, because they're already on the payroll. They're not gonna be at 10 o'clock at night, of course. I assume it's probably 9 or noon, somewhere in there. They're already being paid. Why do the taxpayers have to fund an association that doesn't need to be funded for all intents and purposes? That strictly is for the fire service. Our assistant chiefs are not going to be able to network. Chief Myers, I don't want to pick on you. Years ago, when he was a battalion chief, would show up every month. And I assume you were trying to introduce yourself and understand who was your counterparts in the rest of the county. I saw a lot of value. Totally agree with the chief. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. I'm just saying it would be nice to have both meetings, but that's my opinion.
Okay, let's close that.
Last thing I had for you was just a quick update on our draft. Well, to let you know that I'm working on my end of the year evaluation. We have all of the chiefs are due by the end of this month. I'll be having their evaluation, and then I will bring with Commissioner Urbina mine to you. We'll do a closeout of 2022, our project and work list of all the things that we accomplished from what we said we would and what we did get done. And then we have a draft work plan right now. And I was just going to high level go over what we had as our project and priority list. And then I will bring it to you after the evaluation and the closeout for a thumbs up from you on, yes, that's what we want you to work on. I'll make that part of my evaluation. We, as our project and priority list, and I asked Tanya to bring it up on Monday.com. This is how we track our projects and priorities. We use a software called Monday.com. You can see on the far right, the owner. The first is the general fire lid lift, obviously in August. If she clicks on that arrow right there, you can see everything built out of all the things that we need to get done as tasks for the fire levy. We do this with each and every one of our priorities. So the general fire levy lid lift is obviously a big thing that we need to focus on. The second one is we're gonna focus on in the first quarter of this year. It's a multi-year capital staffing plan. This might take me a couple seconds to explain, but it's two things that are kind of coming together. Some of you have asked me and talked to me about, remember when Chief Burgess did a PowerPoint of the future and where we're headed and the staffing. I need to update that. But we also have another thing that dovetails into it, and that's just our volunteer or resident program. So over the next 3 months as a team, we're going to focus on this and bring you looking at 24, 25, 26 and beyond, projecting on our income and bringing to you a plan for the future on what we're going to staff, how we're going to staff, what we can staff next. And then also our multi-year capital plan on purchasing engines, because we're way behind in our engines. So for the next 3 months, we're gonna focus on this as our as one of our top priorities to update that Chief Burgess, I keep calling it Chief Burgess's PowerPoint, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. We need to dovetail in the volunteer resident program and then our long-term capital and our staffing plan. So that's what we're gonna work on for the next 3 months and update that for you. We're doing an IT evaluation that Chief Black has told you about to just do, should we bring the IT in-house? Policies, procedures, updates. We have, I think I even talked to a few of you in my first couple of months here of being nervous about our policies and our procedures and our access to them, and just not being updated. We have been trying to do them one at a time. This is an unfunded item that if we can find some money throughout the year that we might be able to do. There's a company called Lexipol. Lexipol will come in and take state law, take policies and procedures from around the state and take ours and marry them together and update them and give us a process for doing it all at once, rather than just doing one at a time as staff has time. So we're looking at that. It's an unfunded item right now, but we have it on our project priority list as if there is some funding available to do that this year. Situational awareness, that is, situational awareness is tools for our command staff, for our engine companies, for our battalion chiefs on what's going on around in the county and within our districts. It's apps. It's right now it's kind of dysfunctional. When a call comes in right now, I'll get notified, but we are not getting all the information from CAD. We have to jump over to an app called First Due to try to read some of it. Then we look at Pulse Point to see where our engines are and who's out. There's different products, one of them called Intera, that we are looking at bringing in-house to give us our situational awareness. That's part of what we're talking about at the chief's level. We believe that we also have to update our AVL, so that an AVL is automatic vehicle locator, so that dispatch can dispatch the closest unit, not the station, and also can divert engines if they're going on a BLS call and an ALS call comes in, they can divert them real time. We can have it up on the TV screen and you can see all the engines in the county, where they're at, who's available. That's what a situational awareness app is. So we're working on that this year. Transport revenue and our protocols. We are going to look at EF recovery. Is that the right process? We're looking at our protocols for doing that. Crystal saved us from getting a finding in this area, and so we definitely have to look at it, but we're gonna do a total deep dive of EF recovery, how they bill, is it the right way, and our protocols both before and after, and look at some other companies that might be able to help us on that. But we're just gonna evaluate that. We're gonna look at our performance evaluation. So I just talked about our performance evaluation that we're doing, and we do throughout the whole department. We want to, by the end of the year, hopefully revamp our performance evaluations and how that's done. Obviously, we have the $80 million bond in our facilities. That is an entire process, but we put that in our priorities, and we'll make action steps as we go along. Chief Black updated you that we're in the WSRB process this year. Another one is community risk reduction program. This is going to be a long-term change in our department. I want to move us from being a reactionary fire department, meaning we sit and we wait for bad things to happen and then we go. What I'd like to do is look at, through data and analytics, what is hurting, what is killing, what is injuring our citizens in our community, and putting together actionable things that our entire department can do to stop bad things from happening. It's going to take operations. It's going to be a culture shift for us. But right now, a lot of times in prevention, and prevention does great things. They've saved a lot of lives through smoke detectors and installing smoke detectors. And we do that throughout the nation. But we just go around and we put up smoke detectors and hope that they help. And we never really know if they do. We know that they probably are. But what if we took a targeted approach in our community of what's hurting and killing or injuring our community, put actionable steps around it, and then measure it in the future to see if we made an effect in what we did? That's what a community risk reduction program is. So we'll be building that out over the next few years. Yes, sir.
Would that almost dovetail into community paramedicine?
Kinda, probably not, but community paramedicine could be a part of it,
Yeah.
right? Could be, we could identify something that community paramedicine could help with. But yeah. PC hit, Chief Meyer and I think we have a meeting this week or next week. We have a meeting with all the 5 departments on PC hit. We've had a company come in and give us some recommendations on what we can do. And so the ops chiefs and the fire chiefs are meeting this week to evaluate PC hit and move forward. Radio system upgrade, our 700 and our 800 are 2 different systems. And we're already moving down the road to be part of that, but it's creating one system. With that, updating our physical radios also. So we have a system over here. We also have physical radios, which takes a lot of my time and Chief Black's time to be part of that. Regional physician program, we've already started this. We have a doctor for our department, and we're looking at having a regional doctor that can, I think I've told you about some things that we did in Boise where we created emergency responders healthcare clinic. Some of the chiefs, when I got here, knew about that program and said, let's try to recreate that here as a region. So we're leaning into that. Emergency management is a big deal. We're leaning into our MAC, to PARIT, to CERT, disaster preparedness. And we have a lot of things to lean in there. And Chief Booth has jumped in with both feet on that. We had some recommendations from our battalion chiefs and from our line about having some dash cameras. I have a lot of experience of this, the pros and cons of it. I have a lot of red flags, but we have promised we're going to evaluate it and see if it's something that we can do. So paramedic staffing, right now we have 3 paramedic transport units. We have more paramedics than that. If they're on an engine, could they work as a paramedic? Can an engine be an ALS engine and then a BLS engine the next day? So we're just evaluating how many paramedics we have and the paramedic service. And do we need a 4th ALS unit? Do we need paramedic engines? And just evaluating our paramedic service and how we deliver it. We're looking at our run cards and our response packages. Do we always need to send an engine and a medic unit, right? So some run cards, maybe we can just send an engine. Sometimes maybe we send a medic unit. Sometimes we need to send both. But so Chief Meyer is reevaluating that. And we're actually looking at it at the county level too. Driver operator program. We negotiated driver operator this year. Well, now we need to, this is going to be a big lift for us this year, is creating that driver operator position, and then how we're going to do it in the future. We have a training area right now, but we're going to build a training facility, and we're not going to have that. The gates are going to be closed for 1 year to 2 years. How are we going to conduct our training over the next year? So Chief Corrigan is putting that plan together with the closing of the facility, how we're going to do remote training, how we're going to use our partners. Health, safety, and wellness. Chief Booth gave you an update on L&I fire program. That's looking at our cancer and our physical and our behavioral health. So this is our draft work plan for 2024. It's pretty lofty, but we think we can at least. So I wanted to, that we can go into it more detail as we go down over the next few weeks on my performance, on how and closing out last year, and then getting your thumbs up as a work plan. But I wanted you to hear it at a draft level in case I'm missing something as you're thinking about it over the next couple of weeks. If anything comes up of why aren't you working on this or why aren't you working on that, and give you a little time. So I wanted to go over it at a high level so you can think about it for the next few weeks. So that is our report.
Thank you, Chief.
One question, when you were talking about legislation and you were talking about the lithium batteries being brought up, I don't know if people have seen any of some things in regards to the new, I know we're used to the Priuses and the little batteries and stuff that are in those and the lithium, but the new, particularly like the new Amazon trucks that are running off lithium. My understanding, my son works with a contractor that takes care of Amazon's belts and all that stuff, but he says those trucks are, the bottom is basically all battery. The whole level is battery. And when those things go, he says they actually, when they've had some that have blown up on, or batteries have blown up on them, and they're actually shooting flames out both sides, 6 to 8 feet away from the vehicle, and actually caught other vehicles on fire because of that. I don't know if, I'm assuming that training keeps us up, and his question to me was, does our fire department have the depression equipment, meaning, I don't foam or whatever is used on the lithium type deal? So I'm pretty sure we do because it just went car, but anyway, just something to maybe be, I know, again, I'm sure you guys are up on it, you're usually good on training, but thought that kind of interesting that, you know, we're used to Priuses, now we got these whole bottom of trucks with lithium batteries and the danger of those when they go.
Yeah, there's going to be even bigger trucks like trash trucks, right? And school buses and actually long haul truckers. And it's just growing and growing of those big battery operated vehicles, and extrication of cars too, you know, because they have wires throughout the car that are different than the old style, how we come. So, Chief Meyer, you got anything to add?
The industry is looking into it, and I don't want to say, lack of better words, is the industry struggling with the advancements. But I think we're looking into it and researching it. And you know that with our auto extrication guys, I've been talking with Alex Langlow, and we've been having a lot of discussions. A lot of places you're looking at how the fire departments are. A lot of these fires, once the car catches on fire, it may take a lot to put them out. And what I mean by a lot of water. So then you have to evaluate is anybody inside for rescues? And is there any exposures? Do you potentially move the car away from the building or out of the garage? There's some talks over in Europe where they're actually taking the cars and lifting them and putting them into a tank full of water. But then what do you do with that water now that you've extinguished the car? And when the extinguishment with the water is taking hours that we're seeing. And so it's just not a quick thing. And so it's interesting that's going, a couple things that are going through my mind is that we always have a tendency to, we're going to put out a fire with water, but there's different ways to put out a fire. You remove the fuel, and sometimes there may be a certain potential where we just let the fire burn itself out. And then does that take time? But you also have to weigh the environmental costs. How much water do you dump on it? How big of a, lack of better words, a production do you put forth to? What's the cost? What's the shadow side of taking 30,000 gallons of water and trying to extinguish a Tesla when the car is probably total? My biggest concern is did we perform a rescue? Is there anybody inside? So we're talking about it, we're discussing it, we're reviewing some of the stuff that's out there, watching some of the, I think a few of our auto education technicians are going to actually some General Motors training that's coming up here soon, talk about these things. But it's been on our mind, and it just may force us to look at different ways of extinguishment.
That's all I got.
Any committee reports? Or committees, anything? I think so. I don't have anything for a chairman's report, so that brings us to the bond update.
I apologize, Chief Johnson is sick, yesterday and today, and couldn't make it. He texted me just a little while ago that he couldn't make it. I probably won't be able to answer questions, but at a high level, a few things that I do know is number one, we had our, I can't remember what the name of the meeting was called, but at the county, we had to pay for all the divisions within the county to come to a meeting with our architect to talk about the training facility, and Chief Johnson reported to me that the meeting went very well, got feedback from them. He said the person that was in the county when we asked for our original conditional use permit is still there, and he's very supportive and easy to work with, and as other departments were asking questions, he's like, no, we got this. So at a high level, Chief Johnson said it was a very good meeting. I emailed you out some of our latest design of the training facility, some of the architectural design and where we're at. So we're moving down the road with that, and the county's being really good to work with. The second thing that Chief Johnson is really focusing on is, you might remember that I brought Becky Blankenship in to do a presentation from Hill International about the services they provide. Chief Johnson is trying to evaluate, do we really need somebody like that with him? So we have the architect, and the architect with our contract with them does project management and construction management. When we do go out to bid and we do get a company that's going to build this, they're going to have an on-site construction manager. And then we'll have Chief Johnson that's the subject matter expert and handling the day-to-day things. He has been meeting with Central Kitsap. He's been meeting with East Pierce. He went up to Bellevue the other day just to learn from other departments on how they have handled it. And there's not been one way. Some have hired some people, some have done it on their own, some have had the architects do the project and construction management along with the construction company. So he's still in that evaluation process. I do know through Crystal, who worked at Bellevue and gave us the name of somebody that had been working with Bellevue for quite a while, that Chief Johnson met with her and had a great meeting and is feeling more comfortable. So nothing more to report but we're evaluating that and trying to give Chief Johnson the support he needs so that we don't make a mistake. We do excellent. So that's where he is and evaluating that. And he was really excited after meeting with the, I forgot her name. You remember her name?
Might not want to mention.
Oh, yeah, I probably shouldn't talk about that. I probably shouldn't even said that she would go to Bellevue. Too late.
All right.
I doubt she's watching.
Thanks,
Everybody else is. So that's where we're at with the bond. And that's where we're at with the bond. And Chief Johnson will give you a better update in 2 weeks.
Okay. So no old business on the agenda. Is there anything that we need to add there? I don't think so. New business, organizational chart. Chief.
We have the organizational chart. There's nothing to, I don't think, unless you guys believe you need to adopt it. We just wanted to update you on where we're at. We didn't put names to this so that we don't have to update it every time. We do have another one with names in it if you'd like to see it, but this is more all the positions and FTEs. It's already been approved by you through the budget, but we wanted to present it to you like so you knew organizational structure. Not a lot of changes in here from the past. In fact, I don't think any since the last time you seen it.
Thanks, Chief. We'll now have time for open public comment. Does anyone online? Tanya,
No attendees tonight.
no attendees tonight. Guess that'll draw close to the open public comment. Yeah. Anything for good of the order? Any special interest upcoming events? Right, hearing none, I move that we adjourn the meeting. Our next regular meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 24th at 5 o'clock. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Oh, that's right.